Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are doing Friday the 13th.
Really?
Episode.
Another one?
Movie number 8.
Ugh.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Ugh.
Which right off the bat, I thought they were starting in Manhattan. So it took me a little bit to figure out where they were. So
the opening was just kind of like a setup. It was like, ooh, get ready. They're gonna go to New York. Ooh, this is what it's like there. Ooh. Ooh. That's what it was like.
But basically, they're starting out, and it's not they, it's two people are on a boat.
This movie,
a little boat.
Whoever made this movie has like a fetish for boats. Right, Safi?
I guess so.
They have, like, a weird obsession with boats. To the point of where it's almost kind of weird. It's like, it's really, really weird. It feels like a movie that, honestly, if they took Friday the 13th off of this movie, and they made the killer some sort of a mutant slime person from New York, I wouldn't mind this movie. I would say, okay, it's a dumb 80s slasher type movie, and it hardly takes place in New York, but it's another slasher movie, but they made it Friday the 13th, and that's where I think the movie is bad, because it's not really a Friday the 13th movie.
No, I'm trying to think. Was it Friday the 13th when they start out with just the two people on their boat?
What?
Was it Friday the 13th? I don't remember them saying anything about. I don't think so about Friday the 13th. Never mind.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about at the very beginning. There's two people on a boat.
Yeah, you just asked if they started off on a boat.
No, I didn't. I said, is it Friday the 13th?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, God. Now we're going to start off with this.
Well, I don't know. Like, the movie started off, and I was already like, okay, this is
always say something
this
like,
is a movie.
Oh, today is Friday the 13th.
Well, yeah, like, sometimes they'll emphasize it, and they'll be like, today is Friday the 13th. Damn it. Get ready. Or, well, actually, you know that in the third one, a little trivia fact that everyone talks about is that in the third one, it's actually Saturday the 14th. So, beat that, Safi.
Well, you have two people, a guy and a girl.
And
guess what they're doing?
Are they reading a book?
I don't think so.
Oh, what are they doing?
But anyway.
What are they doing?
They're having sex.
Oh!
So anyway, what was it? They heard a noise, or he said he heard a noise, and then he comes back. He's wearing this is where he's wearing a Jason mask, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and
he pretend kills her with a retractable knife.
Yeah, that's right. It went in, and then you could see that it was one of those. The blade goes inside the whatever it's called, the hilt or whatever, and then it comes back out. And he said, I was just kidding. And so guess what?
Jason shows up and he kills both of them.
I think he takes his mask, too, and a weapon, finds a weapon and takes a mask, which is his favorite thing. My mask, here it is. Why'd you guys have it? And it's a really nice mask, too.
So then...
They're apparently supposed to be... two people are supposed to join a whole boatload of people.
Yeah, that's become like a recurring theme in these movies, is that you'll have like a group of people somewhere else, and then you'll have a couple that's supposed to join them, and then they're the first ones to get killed.
And I don't know where they met up, but they were definitely in the lake at Camp Crystal Lake, because there was a sign that said Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
It was odd, since the name was supposed to have changed, remember?
Yeah, and another thing is, like, I didn't even think it was spelled right. I think it was something like, CRIS. So, like, crystal instead of crystal. So, like, they couldn't even spell crystal right, I believe. Like, so, this movie started off and I was like, what's this movie gonna be? And I've seen it before. I saw it one time as a kid. And, we'll talk about that when it comes to the food review. But the majority of the movie is a boat. It's just people. Are they graduating?
Yeah, it's like a graduation field trip.
These teenagers are graduating, and so they get to go on this first world person fucking trip to Manhattan where they go on a boat, and yeah.
And this boat, but I don't get it. This boat is somehow this Crystal Lake is connected to a main waterway to where this boat just floats up to the big boat. And guess who gets up there?
Jason.
Jason, he rode along somewhere. I guess he was on the boat, maybe.
Who? The boat? Yeah. Yeah, see, this movie...
He wasn't underneath. He was, quote, on the boat because he had already killed the people, so he didn't have to worry about it.
This movie was, wasn't very good.
And the thing about it, too...
It was boring.
I don't know how he knew how to do all the stuff with the boat. At one point, I won't say anything else. He's able to... They're trying to call for help, and he's able to unhook the outside on the boat, the radio from the main line, so it doesn't work anymore. How would he know how to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe it.
And then he also knows, like, where to cut the radio wires. Remember that? Safi?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just don't know. He was a kid who drowned in Crystal Lake, and, I mean, he's a kid. He hasn't lived his life. He hasn't gone anywhere or done anything. So even as if he's a ghost or he's supernatural, he wouldn't know how to do that stuff. So that's why I really didn't. I tried not to pay attention to that, but it doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
So the most of this movie is very similar to Part 7, except this time it's on a boat. So somebody walks around on the boat, and they do something, and then Jason kills them. And then somebody else walks around on the boat, and Jason kills them. That's the movie.
But they're totally going to New York. And they have a captain, and they have a first mate. Well, right off the bat, and so they're on the water, traveling to New York Harbor, whatever with the Statue of Liberty, that harbor, or bay, or whatever it is. And I've never been there. So, anyway, right off the bat, the captain and the first mate, the only people who really know how to drive the boat well, although the captain had a son there, and he makes this big mistake. It's some personal thing where he wants to just turn the boat over to his son and let him take over the voyage, and his son doesn't want to do that. And so he has to take back the reins, and but they get killed right away. So it ends up his son has to try to steer it or do whatever he's supposed to do, and that's when he tries to call for help and all this stuff. But anyway, there's also, though, before we talk about that stuff, there's also a girl. And you know when you see her, and
she's the final girl.
And she has a really cute dog.
And this one, I liked, like, the look of her, I guess, like, with would she have, like, a ponytail thing, and then she had, like, this vest. Like, I liked the look of her character, but I just hated this character. She was so boring. She was so, like, just meaningless to me. She wasn't anything like the final girl from the last movie, or the final girl from Part 6, Part 5, Part 2. So I really didn't like her.
Well, I thought she was kind of weak.
She was. She's
just constantly kind of limps out or passes out, or I don't know how to describe it, but she's with her guardian. I don't really know if he's her father.
He's not, I guess.
No,
I don't know.
He isn't, because she said that she told this boy, I'm going to just call her the dog girl.
The dog girl?
She told the captain's son.
Just call her the final girl.
Okay, well, anyway, the captain's son and her become really good friends and help each other. And she tells him that when she was a kid, her parents were killed in a car wreck. And so I guess that's why she's living with this guardian. I don't know. And he's like the teacher, too. In fact, they have 2 chaperones. She drove up with a woman chaperone who's like her English teacher. And then you have her, and then you have this guy who didn't want her to come because he tries to overprotect her, and she's like, oh, cut it out, and goes in. But anyway, so he's not a very nice character. He doesn't believe anybody.
He's another terrible character, because he's just so like,
he's a jerk.
Been there, done that, like those typical like establishment characters. Like, I don't know how to describe, like, the principal from Breakfast Club, but less interesting and less good. Like just a very like boring, like, oh shit. It's just a boring guy from the 50s, like some old like establishment guy, and he's just very boring. And most of the characters in this movie, they're pretty boring, they're pretty bland, they're not really like great characters at all. And overall, like, this movie, it started off and I was like, I've already heard before that the movie is not really what it says it is, which it's not. It's another false advertising movie. But as the movie goes on, it just gets like boring and boring and boring, and by the end I wanted to turn it off. I kept on checking the time over and over. I kept on getting up to do things to just like try to like entertain myself, because I was so bored of this movie. It was so not fun. It was so like, it was such a chore.
Well, they must have liked the Titanic too, because I felt like there was Titanic similarities.
Titanic similarities.
And, what happens, there's all kinds of, Jason is on board the ship. So anybody who's on there is like fair game. So whenever he comes across anybody, he goes after him and kills them. So it's like 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. There's quite a few people, and he already killed the captain, first mate. There was also a deckhand, and he was like that. And that's another characteristic of Friday the 13th. There's always some crazy person.
Well, not always.
It seems like it always warns them that they're all going to get killed. And he actually, doesn't he say Jason is alive and he's going to kill all of you. I'm
bored just talking about this movie now.
Well, anyway, and so she has this dog, and they sense that Jason's on board now that they've been warned he's on there, and everybody's going to get killed, and the dog disappears. And that's the thing, that throughout the whole movie, I thought, God, I hope Jason isn't going to kill the dog.
But the dog just he just teleports. Like he disappears and then he shows up, and he disappears and he shows up. It's like,
and I wrote through all my notes, like, where's the dog? Where's the dog? Where's the dog? Every few scenes, because you're thinking like, well, they've gone into this other. They have to abandon the ship, and some of the students, they don't get killed by Jason, they drown because the thing blew up, and the engine room was flooded. Sounded familiar? And the female teacher was with a bunch and said, "Wait here." Well, she made them wait in a room that got flooded, so they're all dead. Not from Jason, but from being flooded. From drowning.
So, what else do we say about this movie?
Well, the boat goes down. Do you really want to say anything about the people who get killed?
Yeah.
You
see how boring this is?
There's a prissy girl.
Well, okay, okay. Yeah, actually, well, there's one thing to mention is that this is a movie that has that stereotype where you have, there's always, like, the two nerdy characters, and one of them has a crush on a popular girl, a girl who's quote-unquote out of his league, in 1980s stereotype terms. And he's like a nerdy, like, filmmaker wannabe, like, and he has this stupid camera that it's like they're showing off the latest technology, and it's
one of those really clunky big video cameras.
Yeah, they're like, "Look, we got this camera that's really expensive for the Jason movie. It's really expensive."
We used to borrow one of those when we went on vacation.
But that one was better because it was like it recorded better footage than this.
I guess so, but here he is. He's trying to fight Jason. He's carrying this. He wears glasses, and he's got this clunky camera.
Yeah, and he has a crush on the biology teacher, and she's kind of like a bimbo bitch. And then he mostly hangs out with this other quote-unquote nerdy girl who's like a gothic rocker girl. And she's a gothic rock player girl.
But that was another thing. But I don't even know if it's worth mentioning.
Safi, let me finish, Safi. Okay. I'm trying to make a point here, and you've interrupted like 3 times.
Right.
So, she's in love with him, but he's in love with the biology teacher. And so it's the classic, like, cliche of, like, you have two nerdy characters, and instead of, realizing that they're both not good enough for, the pretty people, the nerdy guy just continues to want to be with the biology teacher. And then he ends up getting killed, and she ends up getting killed, and the rock girl gets killed first. And so I just wanted to mention that they had this boring cliche in the movie. This stupid cliche. Like, he's not good enough for the pretty character. He has to settle for the nerdy character, and actually that was kind of one of the funny things, was that she wasn't really like a nerdy character at all. She's like a rock star girl, and you just kind of wonder, like, why is she hanging out with him? Because she's a lot better than he is. Right, Safi?
She's kind of like the groups at the time.
Speak up, Safi.
She's kind of like the 80s groups at the time. I can't even think of it. She had the outfit, she had the hair, the guitar, and what happened was she turned on the, I don't know what it was, tape player, and she started playing her guitar, but she was just faking it and not even singing. She was pretending like she was playing.
She was pretending she was in a music video.
Yeah.
Because she said that the room she was in would be perfect for a music video, which it did look like it would be good for a music video, I guess. And then she gets killed, and actually, her death was the second best death in the movie to me, where Jason takes her guitar and he kills her with it, and blood squirts all over the camera. I thought that was like a nice kill, I guess, but still not very good.
It was hard to see.
Because I ranked all the kills in the movie. I also liked the kill where he kills the Guardian and he dunks him in like a toxic waste barrel or something.
God, that was gross.
That was kind of cool.
But he kind of deserved it. He was awful.
I like the death where he kills the biology teacher and he gets the shard of glass from the mirror and stabs her.
Yeah.
And then my favorite kill was the boxing kill, where he punches a guy's head off. Julius.
Well, but before that, this is when they land in New York. They get into New York, the harbor.
Yeah, they finally get into New York like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
And who's left? It's the Guardian, the female teacher, the captain's son, the dog girl, and the African-American boxer who's wearing a beautiful brand new tracksuit that doesn't look like it has a mark on it, and he was already knocked into the water. They saved him right before they were about to leave. He was hanging on somewhere, and he pops up out of the water, and then he doesn't even act like anything happened to him. And Jason, I think, Jason knocked him into the water. And but they get there. That's all who's left. And Marco's talking about this boxing duel between Jason and him, and it went on and on and on. And the African American guy, he's got all these punches. He punches him over and over and over again. And Jason just stands there. He doesn't even act like it's even bothered him one bit.
And it's kind of weird because, again, with the character inconsistencies in the series, I feel like the Jason in the earlier sequels wouldn't have been able to handle that beating. I feel like he would have been kind of like knocked down, and he would have had to get back up after a while.
I mean, it went on forever.
Don't you agree with that, Safi?
Yeah, I think so. I
Are you
was
paying
wondering
attention,
if he was
or
wearing extra padding or something.
Are you paying attention, or are you looking at my computer screen?
No, I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
The way it looked, and the guy, it went on so long, the guy got tired. I could tell. And so, of course, that plays into the scene, too. He gets tired. And it's like Jason never says a word or makes a sound. And it's almost like Jason was standing there going, okay, are you done already? Now I'm going to polish you.
Yeah, I like that kill a lot. I thought that was a fun kill. But still, like, this movie, it was not good. Like, this is one of those movies, and I already said this to Safi, but this is one of those movies where you see it in the theater, and then you walk outside and you don't talk about it because it was bad, and you just want to forget that you watched it. Right, Safi?
Yeah.
Like, you know those types of movies. Like, there are lots of movies, and even if they're, like, not really that good, you still talk about them after you go to see them in the theater. But this is one of those movies where you just walk outside, get to the car, and you don't say anything. Because it's like, you both know that it was bad, and that it wasn't very good. And because even just the concept for the movie, what was that? Like, after the 7th one, they're like, okay, we did Carrie versus Jason, now let's do Jason, Jason goes to New York. Ooh, that's an idea in my head. I just had an idea. That's what it's like, Safi.
Well,
right?
I was thinking about, they just thought of every little situation that could happen. So, of course, what do they come upon? I don't know what time it is. Maybe it's the middle of the night. And I'm just going to call them hoods. I don't know what else to call them. Gang people, hoods. I don't know exactly what they were. And, of course, they don't have a chance against them. They grab the dog girl. The dog has disappeared because I think the dog would have growled and tried to. Oh wait, the dog was there because they tried to.
And they tried to shoot him.
The dog left.
There was like this funny part too, where they're on New York, and they're there, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's New York! It's that place that everybody says is amazing." And then as soon as they're there, you got these people, and they're like, "Okay, give me all your money, and we're gonna rape that girl." And it's like, yeah, that's New York. Welcome to New York.
Well, they're in a very darkened area.
No, that's New York, Safi. That's what it's like.
Cut it out.
It's a terrible place. It's
No, it's not.
It's awful.
No, it's not.
It's a hellhole.
Oh, bullshit. No, it's not. Don't say
awful.
that. Don't say that.
Awful
Anyway,
place. And the movie, it really showcased how bad it was. And
it was good after that. Be quiet.
And then Jason, he fucks them up. Like he gets these rapists and kills them. And God, I hate this movie.
And then he still goes after her. Which is funny.
That's when the movie, like everyone says, this is when the movie gets good. But I felt like this is when the movie gets really bad because the characters keep on stopping to have conversations. Like, they keep on running from Jason, and then they just stop to talk to each other. And I was like, God, what is this? I don't like this. I hate it. I want to see some action. I want to see some intensity from a Friday the 13th movie. I don't want to see this like, okay, now we got to stop and talk now and have a romantic moment with the two pretty leads. Ugh. I hate it. This movie sucks.
So then they keep going, and of course the two teachers die. The African American boxer dies, and who's left?
No, Safi, that the woman was the mom of the girl.
Was?
The final girl, right?
No, her parents died in a car wreck.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they had that stupid origin story shit with this fucking stupid final girl.
Oh, and we forgot.
And the guardian pushes her in the lake
when she's a kid,
and so she has a fear of the water. Ooh,
and also
fuck
Jason,
this shit.
She said that Jason grabbed her leg in the when she was put in the water. This is when she's a little girl, and the guardian rescues her. They don't show that, but they show him pushing her in the water and saying, "This is your day to learn how to swim."
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? I wish that I was thrown in the water because being thrown in the water would be much more entertaining than watching this movie. Nah. Like I like the whole movie. Like I just wish that I could have drowned myself in the water somewhere to like stop watching this movie because it was just so bad and so boring and so uneventful and dull. And I was like, I really am glad that at least a lot of people think it's bad because, it's fine if you like the movie and all. Like, it's not a bad thing if you like it, but I hate it. And I'm really glad that there's a lot of people who agree and hate it too because, again, I could go through all the problems over and over. Like, it's boring. It's repetitive, just like the seventh one. There's no ideas that are interesting that they put on the screen. Like, can you name me like a single idea that they do in this movie that's like actually interesting? No. And so that's a big problem because that's the movie. In the seventh one, you had Carrie versus Jason. That was interesting. And you had some fun characters as well. That was a good movie. This movie was bad. It was really, really bad because it was boring. It wasn't as boring as the shitty agenda-driven Exorcist movie, but it was still boring. Right, Safi?
Yeah, well, it just kept going on and on and on.
Yeah, and that's another thing was like at a certain point I was like, there's an hour left in this movie? Like, ew. Safi?
I don't know. I just...
you don't know?
It's just like they you think, oh, it's gonna be over now, and then you look at the how much time is left to go. Oh my God, there's gonna be more.
That's what I just said.
Well, I know that, but it's
That's
just
what
like,
I just
it was
said.
just hard to believe.
And then you said, I don't know, and then you just repeated what I said.
Well, I was like,
what the fuck?
I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't
Because
either.
It's almost just like they got extra money and they wanted to spend it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
But they didn't have the money to hire a writer who knew how to write a good script, though.
Yeah, so they they did a subway thing. They made it out of there. And that was another thing. They had to pull the emergency brake because there was nothing. They were trapped and Jason was going to get them. So they pulled the emergency brake, and of course that jerks the train so hard that Jason falls. And then they open the escape door, and they get out. And then he ends up chasing him into the sewer, of course. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, I know what they're going to do. They're going to have a sewer monster.
They're going to pick
with
up.
Teeth.
They're going to pick up big. They're going to pick up a big snake that like flushed down the toilet somewhere, and they're going to throw it at Jason, and Jason is going to go, "Oh no! My secret weakness of snakes! Oh no!"
Yeah.
Right, Safi?
So Mark was thinking it would be a snake.
I don't know.
I was thinking about that. I watched this video short of a saltwater crocodile, which is like the most vicious animal in the Animal Planet. They showed it going after a leopard, and oh God, and it's just really mean, and it's like a dinosaur. It's like a dinosaur from the past. They used to have these giant, can't remember the name of them, but they were like a giant crocodile jump up out of the water and grab the dinosaur. Anyway, but no, that never happened. This was all about toxic waste.
Yeah.
And they run into a sewer worker or whatever he is, and city worker. He tells them they better get out because they flush the system down there every so often. It's a regularly scheduled thing. So
and that's another thing.
Out.
That's another thing that I hate too. It's bad enough that you have a final girl, but it's another thing where she basically doesn't have to do anything to defeat Jason, because what does she have to do, Safi? She has to wait.
Just get out of the way.
Yeah, just get out of the way. And so that's how trash of a character she is that, like, she doesn't even have to do anything to earn being, like, a final girl. Like, you know, say what you will, I know a lot of people don't like the girl from Part 3, which, you know, I didn't really like her very much either, but she actually did defeat Jason, and she, you know, went up against him and did stuff to him. This girl, she doesn't do anything. So...
And she just goes with the flow. So a toxic waste.
It's pretty boring.
Well, she finds this can first and has it in there, and she pours it on him.
Oh yeah, and then we see his face, and I hated how... I really liked the look of Jason in this movie, but I hated how his face looked. That stupid, like, cartoonish face that they gave him. Did you like it, Safi?
It just... Oh, yeah, now I remember. No. It seemed kind of weird.
Yeah. Didn't seem like Jason at all.
No, not at all. Like another movie.
Yeah, and it really should have been another movie. That would have been fun. Not Friday the 13th. Safi?
Yeah. And after she pours that on him, even though he's like burned up, because it burned him, his face. It was smoking. Didn't it burn his mask off or something?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking he didn't already have it off of there. And, but then he still goes after her, and so you can hear this noise. It sounds like this toxic stuff is going to start flushing down the pathway. So the guy, the ship's son, gets a ship captain's son gets up next to the street and tries to open the grate, and it can't open, and she climbs up there. Here comes Jason, but here comes, like we said, Marco said, she doesn't really have to do anything except get out of the way.
And he doesn't really do anything either. His character's trash too. And in fact, I really wish that his character would have gotten killed because I just despised him. What the?
Weird. So
Yeah, you're
anyway,
looking at my screen,
they go way
Safi.
up with their heads next to the grate, and Jason gets carried away. But then he doesn't. He ends up, you look down when it's over and the toxic waste is done flushing. You see a young boy knocked out with, like he was knocked out today, like 5 minutes ago. And it's Jason as a kid. Like he had just drowned or something.
He gets turned back into a kid by the toxic waste. That was the stupidest of stupidest things out of all the stupid things in the stupid fucking movie.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb. So anyway, and so they somehow, and they don't show this, they get out, even though it was like locked. Maybe they yelled for help and somebody opened it. Next thing you see is they're on the street, and they're probably right in the middle of Broadway or whatever. You see all the flashing signs and all the people, and then they're hugging, and then all of a sudden she looks up and she has this weird look in her face, and you think, oh my God, don't tell me he's back again.
Yeah.
The movie should be over by now.
Yeah, because it was like almost 2 hours at that point, so.
And it was the dog. And that was fine. I love the dog.
I guess.
It's a cute dog. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, and I really wanted to like it because they had a nice song at the beginning, but that was about it. Like there were a couple of kills that were good, but other than that, there was nothing good in this movie. I really, really despised it. This is everything that I don't like about, I guess, Friday the 13th movies, or just horror movies in general from like any time, is like this type of thing where you can just feel like this isn't like a real movie that was written by a human person with like creativity. This is like Mad Libs, like Friday the 13th Mad Libs. But even that would be more entertaining, right, Safi?
I don't know what Mad Libs are.
You don't know what Mad Libs are?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Oh.
Anyway, it just went on and on. It's like I said, it's like they got this extra money and they decided to do all these different scenarios. Oh, what would it be like if Jason went into the subway?
Yeah.
What would it be like if Jason was at the top of the roof with the boxer, and the boxer just kept going on and on? What would it be like if two hoods came up and one had a gun and they also had drugs on them? And what would it be like if, it's just, what would it be like? What would it be like? And it just was too much. It was not thoughtful.
And I wanted to like it. Like, I was really excited because I love the poster too. The poster where Jason's over the top of New York. In fact, in the summer, I actually, there's a puzzle app, and I took that poster and I did the poster as a puzzle because the poster's so cool and colorful. But the movie, I wouldn't really watch this movie for a long time because it was boring. And I think that like a good situation to watch it would be like at a party or something, so that you can like talk to people and not really focus on the boring movie, and then kind of look up at the movie once in a while and be like, yeah.
Well, what was I going to say?
Say anything. You don't know what to say, Safi? Okay.
I don't know what else to say except that it...
Well, the food review.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what it's called, but I never got it because I never would want to get it. But since they threw everything into everything in but the kitchen sink for him to face. I don't know if they still have it. And maybe some people like it, but I wouldn't touch it. At KFC now, that was, for the last few years, there wasn't much of anything that I liked to eat. Sweet or anything else. It didn't matter. It just, nothing tasted good, and I lost a lot of weight. It was like 92 pounds or something. 94, I don't know, but my doctor was upset with me and didn't want me to do that anymore, so he took me off the medication. I'd been on it.
Safi, you don't need to mention that a million times.
At KFC, they had this thing where they put everything in this bowl. Everything, the mashed potatoes, the gravy.
Well, I got
chicken,
that. I got it before.
all mixed together. I thought it was the grossest thing. I was like, who want to eat that? Because, you like to. It's just like a meal on a plate.
Here it
is.
is.
Separated.
Here you go.
Yeah, I think that's it. That famous bowl.
Yeah.
Oh God! Just even looking at it now, and I think it's covered up with strips of cheese.
Yeah. When I got it, it was so bad that I threw it away and ate something else.
You like the food separated, and then you might like to eat some chicken, and then have a taste or a scoop of mashed potatoes and gravy, because they have really good gravy.
This way, it's like barf.
Yeah,
it's like you barfed up KFC and then you eat it.
They just pour everything into this bowl, all mixed together, and I'm like, and that's what this movie was like. They just put everything into the bowl, and every little scenario that he could ever face, going to New York. And what was really funny too, I noticed, this is probably what I wanted to say, was that, Jason was always very directed toward these two people, because he ended up just chasing them all over the place, where he wouldn't go after anybody else, even if, you had, on the subway, you had a crowded subway, and he didn't even take a second glance.
Yeah, it was very similar to Texas Chainsaw 3D, where Leatherface is at the carnival and he doesn't kill anyone, and then he just chases the main characters.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, that when they got there and they faced up to those two hoods, he went after them.
Yeah.
Why? But he doesn't go after the people.
I guess because they were in the way of the final girl.
I guess maybe because they were trying to rape her. They'd already They did inject her with intravenous drug.
Gross.
It was gross. I don't even want to think about it. Dirty needle. And, oh God. Anyway, she didn't act like it affected her really. It should have affected her for hours. And
I know. Well, they didn't have time to explore that plot line.
No, it's just it wouldn't, and that would interfere with watching Jason go through another scenario. So that's what I give it, because it's just a mess, and I wouldn't eat it. But I did watch the movie. So what about you, Marco?
Well, when I was a kid, I first saw this movie with with Jimmy.
That's Marco's big brother.
And I remembered it was boring then as a kid, and we were struggling to get through it. And it was a night where we had fish sticks dinner, which we don't do anymore. But they were these skinny little fish sticks, and I think I would get 3 or 4. With barbecue sauce or ketchup, with canned green beans and rice. And it's fine to just have that like one time, but it's so much better to have like salmon patties, or just salmon, or to have like trout with almond butter sauce. It's not really that great to have fish sticks anymore, but
well, they're not really good for you, but
they're not good.
A quick meal.
Yeah, and that's what we ate while watching this movie. And it's so similar to the movie in that, like, it's just like, why? Like, why would you have that when you could have real fish, where you could just stick it in the oven, bake it, and take it out, and it tastes so much better, and it's better for you. And another thing is that when I was a kid, I think I fell asleep through it too. And, like, the only thing that I really remembered from the movie as a kid was, like, the part where Jason grabs her through the window, the circle window.
Oh, yeah.
And then the parts where, like, she hallucinates young Jason in, like, the mirrors and stuff. But other than that, like, this movie was so boring. Like, even as a kid, like, I forgot all about it.
Well, you know, if they had cut out some of that stuff and then they had the other with her hallucinations, it might have been a lot better.
It might have been more interesting.
Yeah, more
interesting if they made a Friday the 13th movie instead of making Friday the 13th Mad Libs. And so, Safi, you're going to find out what a Mad Lib is. Mad Libs are where you have a bunch of words that you can put into, like, this blank story, and then it generates a story. And so you fill in the blanks for all these things, and then it creates, like, a story.
I think we did something like that in my writing group, but we didn't call it that.
It doesn't really make sense a lot of the times, and so it's funny. And so, Safi, what's a noun? Give a noun. Come on.
I don't know, watermelon?
Oh, watermelon. Okay, noun plural. How about...
Watermelons, right?
Oh, well, no, it doesn't have to be that specific.
Squirrels.
Squirrels. Okay, adjective.
Yellow.
Okay, I'm going to give one now. Okay, for animal, I am going to put, jellyfish. Adjective.
You just did an adjective.
No, you have to do another one, Safi. That's the game.
Clear.
Okay, noun. I will say Bill Murray. Because it would be funny to see. It would have been great to see Bill Murray in a Friday the 13th movie back then in the 80s. Right?
I guess.
See him get killed. Verb. What's a verb, Safi?
Swim.
Okay, body part.
Arm.
Okay, arm. That's boring. Adjective.
I felt bad. Gold.
Another color. You're obsessed with the color yellow. And gold and shit. Okay, place. I will say, a good place for a Friday the 13th movie would be, Hogwarts. Right, Safi, Hogwarts. Or should we... Okay, noun.
Necklace.
Okay, what about a noun plural?
Rings.
Rings. Okay, what about for a number, I will say 69. Okay, adjective. What adjective? Give me 3 adjectives. I will say creepy. And what's yours?
Prickly.
Prickly. And then
prickly.
I will also say bitchy. Okay, what's another noun?
Cloud.
Okay, what's a verb that ends in ing?
Skipping.
Okay, country, I will put Alaska.
That's not a country, that's a state.
Shh.
Don't do that.
Okay, what's a country?
How about...
What's a country?
How about Guatemala?
Guatemala. Okay, play it. Now, this will be a Friday the 13th Mad Lib. It will demonstrate to me that Safi, or it will demonstrate that that's what this movie was like. I've never been a superstitious watermelon, but this past Friday the 13th made me question my squirrels. The first yellow thing I noticed was a black jellyfish crossing my path. That's supposed to be clear luck, but I didn't think anything of it. Next, I stepped on a crack in the Bill Murray and remembered that old saying, "Step on a crap and swim your mother's arm." Uh-oh. Later, while out to dinner, I spilled salt, which is always gold luck. Then I went to the Hogwarts and tripped and fell into a full-length necklace, which shattered into 1,000,000 rings. Breaking a mirror supposedly brings 69 years of creepy luck, so now I was really prickly. I decided to go home to avoid any other bitchy encounters, but it only got worse. The moment I got home, I discovered my boyfriend in bed with another cloud. Next Friday the 13th, I'm not even going to bother skipping out of Guatemala. See, Safi, wasn't that what this movie was like?
Yeah, that's fun. And we did something like that.
See? That's what like this movie was like. It was like a Friday the 13th Mad Lib. Wouldn't you agree?
I guess so. That was fun. That's a good way to. So it's just computer generated with the other words.
Yeah, but they also have like worksheets. They have like printable things where you can see the stuff and you can fill them in.
That's neat. That's a good idea.
But the fun of it is that it has to be a mystery, and then you get to the story and you hear the results, and that's what's funny. So, Safi, are you gonna die now? Don't die.
Give our video a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers so we can hear your feedback on these Friday the 13th movies. And this one, if you've seen it, what did you think of it?
And the next one is supposedly even worse. Jason Goes to Hell. Oh.
So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.